This tiny tractor looks like a toy, but it's really a scale model. It has all the detail of a real tractor shrunk down to just 1.5% of the original size. So how do they get all that detail into a tractor that's just 25 centimeters tall? It all starts with sketching each of the individual parts of the tractor. This is done using measurements based on a full-size tractor and a small model. The sketches produced will then be used to make a prototype of the toy, which is then used to make a mold. This sketch is for one of the rear mudguards on the tractor. It's important that every detail is exact, because whatever is sketched will be replicated in the toy. To turn the tiny sketch into a three-dimensional prototype, the drawing is traced onto a block of soft brass. The parts can then be roughed out with a bandsaw, smoothed out on a sander, and locked into a mill. The artist then carves out the part's tiny details. After each part is milled, the artist refines it even more with a tiny hand file. When every part is in place, the prototypes are coated in a non-stick spray. They're then pressed into a bed of rubberized silicon to make a master mold of every part in the toy. Once all of the prototypes are pressed in, the artist closes up the mold and packs it into a tight metal case. The rubbery silicon is now ready to be hardened around the prototypes using the same process that hardens the rubber on car tires. To harden the silicon, the mold is heated to 176 degrees and squashed under 1,360 kilos of pressure for 2 full hours to harden the rubber. When time is up, the rubber is set. The mold is pried open so the prototypes can be plucked out. They're not really the toy parts, they're just models of the toy parts. To make the actual toy, they have to use the mold to cast the parts out of metal. For these toys, they use molten zinc because it's ultra-durable when it hardens. Also, even at 426 degrees, it's not hot enough to melt the mold. This time, when the mold opens, the real toy parts are inside. They're perfectly formed in every detail, but a little sharp around the edges. A quick tumble through a ceramic stone tumbler smooths out the jagged spots. It takes a very steady hand, some fast-acting glue, and a pair of tweezers to assemble the tiny parts into a toy tractor. First to go on are the steering wheels, seat, and mudguards. Then the tiny tractor bodies get a quick paint job. When the paint is dry, the tractor gets its exhaust pipe, wheels, and hand-painted detailing. The finished tractor may be small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, but for the enthusiast, it's just a job.